Now, when I decided I wanted to study in Canada, it wasn't a decision I made overnight, or as we Jamaicans would call it, a hurry come up decision. In fact, it was something I thought long and hard about, prayed about, discussed with my family. I did the research and ultimately decided to do. Now, this is not the first time I applied to a college or university in Canada. I remember applying in, I believe it was 2008, I applied to the Seneca College. It's just that, I did not have the money because I was accepted. I still don't have the money, but I am at a place now where I'm able to make certain decisions, look at the risks, look at the benefits, and do what needs to be done. Now, in this video, I'll be talking about some of the reasons why I decided to study in Canada. Now, if you're new here, I am Ricardo, and I'm an international student studying in Canada. Now, let me just start by saying that I have two sisters in Canada, Shireen and Anne-Marie, big up on yourself, right? And they are citizens of this country. They have been here for over 30 years. I will also say that this is not my first time traveling to Canada, right? I came to Canada back in 2015. I visited, that was the first time I was outside of Jamaica. I stayed with my sisters and I honestly fell in love with the place. And I thought long and hard that guess what? One day I would want to move to this country. Yeah, the place is clean, orderly, and I'm not saying that it is all perfect. In fact, nowhere is perfect. But, there were some things I saw and I fell in love with. And I said to myself, I want to make this country, a place of choice to live, raise family, and do business. Hold on, that sounds like the Jamaica 2030 vision, don't it? I wonder there's a Canada 2030. Anyhow, let's talk about some of the reasons. So I already told you that I have family here, right? That's one. The other thing is Canada is known for offering quality education and is home to some of the world's top universities. We're talking about the University of Alberta, University of Toronto, and University of British Columbia. Not only that, but Canadian degrees are recognized worldwide. Now in Jamaica, like when you are going to apply, to study overseas, your credentials have to be assessed, right? And there are different, ways of getting those credentials assessed. I remember when I was applying to come here, I used World Education Services. Yeah, because what they want to know is if the degree that you did back home, if it's equivalent to Canadian education. Now, if you actually have a degree in Canada, you really have to go through some of these things. Also, Canada is known for offering practical and theoretical courses. So, it's not just about, sitting behind a desk, but they offer a wide range, and I mean a wide range of courses that are needed in every sector of society, right? So those are some of the reasons why I actually decided to come to Canada. Now, in terms of the course that I'm doing, and I remember putting up a video a couple weeks back where I was talking to some of my colleagues and they were talking about why they decided to do the course. If you don't remember what course it is Autism and Behavioral Sciences. In that video, I did not say why I decided to do autism. So, why autism? In 2020, I actually started my Bachelor's of Science in Applied Psychology at the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, right? I did that. It was a 4-year course because I did it part-time and I completed the degree December 2023. When I did psychology, in fact, let me tell you why I did psychology in the first place. I felt at the time that, I was able to connect with a lot of people, a lot of persons. We would have conversations, we'd encourage each other. And I found that, I was always helping people to solve problems, helping people to navigate, the challenges that they were experiencing in their lives. And, I said to myself, I think psychology would be a good fit for me. And so I did applied psychology. Having completed that degree though, I knew that there was something else I needed to do if I really wanted to work in the field. I remember being at home, scrolling on TikTok or Facebook, and I remember coming across a video about autism, right? And there was this caregiver, I'm not sure if it is his mother, but there was this caregiver who takes care of a child with autism, and his name is Darius. And I would watch those videos, and over a period of time, it's like I always wanted to know more. How did she do this? How did she do that? I realized that this was an area that I was interested in, and I decided that I wanted to study. But yeah, so when I decided I wanted to study in Canada, I had to make a decision as to where I wanted to study, right? And as I said, I wanted to make the transition here with my family. And so what I eventually did, I went online, did some research, and I found this school, which is not too far from where my sisters are. I learned that it was a designated learning institution, a DLI, and that's the thing. If you want to study abroad, well, in a country like Canada, and it's not just about getting an education, but you also want to transition from TR to a PR, there are certain things that you have to know. So you have to apply to a designated learning institution. The course that you're doing is something that a PGWP or a postgraduate work permit should be tied to it. Because if not, you won't get the opportunity to work after you complete the course, and it won't help you in any way at all, right? So I applied, got accepted, made a deposit, and I am here studying. So pretty much, those are some of the reasons why I decided to study in Canada and why I decided to do the course. All right. So, if you haven't done so as yet, remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next video.